This is Jack Daniels of the Boxers Trainers Channel. And good morning, people, and welcome back to the channel. Look, we're gonna get right to it. You know what I mean? This day, right, is gonna make me a break when it comes to my career in journalism, right? Because a lot of people have been turmoiled by the things that were said by the GOAT, Claressa Shields, right? And like, it's kind of a touchy um, a situation because a lot of people, like I said, have different opinions about whether it is legitimate for Claressa Shields to say that she can be the man, right? She believes that she can outbox Rolando Romeo. So this morning, we gonna have that conversation, right? And I think that once I finish the conversation, I'm gonna love you, right? The matter is acting in the capacity of a man speaking on a fundamentally disturbing issue that pertains to women, especially in sports, right? And primarily, this is what this is about, right? This is about getting to the answers necessary. No, excuse me, getting to the questions necessary to answer the questions about women, in, not just in sports, in general, right? And in my opinion, first of all, let me say, I believe that it is unfair to say or suggest that a woman is somehow a second class citizen, right? In the sense that she can't compete with the male in her conduct, in her ability to get things done, and in the sports, right? And I find all that absurd. And actually, before I get really engrossed in this conversation, right, I want to say that, in my opinion, Shannon Sharp, right, the ex Denver football player, right? He once played for Denver, right? Actually, that's where he retired from, if I'm not mistaken, right? And he was a exquisite receiver, right? He was one of the best in the world. And I'm quite sure he's in the Hall of Fame, right? But let me just say that, in my opinion, like-minded Shannon Sharp, Shannon, uh-oh. Shout out to the chat. Bruce Gas, Boxer Jazz, and more said Claressa Shields is on drugs. I would like an explanation for that, brother. Okay, let me say this. Shannon Sharp, in my opinion, right? Contrary to the fact that a lot of people see him as being Uncle Tom, or you know what I'm saying, Unc, or a lot of different variables associated with the labels of Shannon Sharp, right? Now, didn't follow him, right? You know what I mean? There's a few things that I've had conversations per se with about Shannon Sharp, but I just don't follow Shannon Sharp, right? But I will say that there has been a lot of negative verbiage in regard to Shannon Sharp and his behavior, right? So it shouldn't be strange for you to hear me say, based on what I heard Shannon Sharp say, that in my opinion, Shannon Sharp is considered as a a person that doesn't have uh, a lot of respect for women, right? He doesn't have a lot of respect for the females' assorted abilities. You know what I mean? And he spoke on that, right, to Claressa Shields. You know what I mean? And I believe that people that think like Sharon Sharp are actually male chauvinist pigs. That's right, male chauvinist pigs. They're male chauvinist pigs because they believe that females are second class citizens. You know what I mean? They believe that a woman is incapable of getting the job done, whatever the job may be, right? Especially when it comes to the heavy lifting. You know what I mean? And here's the deal. right? This is the case in chief, where people don't believe that Claressa Shields could outbox Rolando Romeo. Listen, let me be perfectly clear about this. And I'm getting wired up about this now, man. You know what I'm saying? Because struck a nerve, right? Claressa Shields is 3 times undisputed in 3 weight divisions: light, middleweight, and heavyweight. He is a world-renowned boxer who has won world titles in 5 different weight divisions. Um, as of 2026, she's a trailblazer in women's boxing. She is also 2 times Olympic gold medalist. 2012 London, 2016 Rio de Janeiro. Right? Look, now y'all can say what you want to say about Claressa Shields, and you can create these narratives about her ability when it comes to boxing. But Rolando Romeo, I have also stated this on, I don't know how many times on this network, on this platform, right? That Rolando Romeo is a horrible boxer, man. He's a horrible fighter. Now, horrible fighter. Now, a lot of y'all say, "Oh, he's orthodox, right? He just that's just his style." And then look, check this out. At the end of the day, right? In my opinion, I boxed. I fought. I boxed, but you can say what you want to say in regards to fighting, right? That's what y'all don't know the difference between boxing and fighting, right? Rolando Romero is a fighter, right? He can't box. You know what I'm saying? And if you can't box and you get in the ring with a boxer, and the boxer has the credentials of a Claressa Shields, right? You don't stand a chance of winning. I don't give a damn if you're a male or female, right? You cannot label her as not being capable of whooping on Rolando Romero because she's a female. Here's the thing. If she can box, it doesn't matter whether she's a male or a female. If she can outbox Rolando Romero, she can whoop Rolando Romero. And I'm going to go a step farther with that, right? Because this really gets on my nerve. It gets under my skin that men have the audacity to continue to place women beneath them. You know what I mean? The thing is that she hasn't just started saying that she believes that she can challenge a man in the ring. She said that about Keith Thurman, right? But that fizzled out. This has caught traction. And I have to believe in all my heart that if you guys in the boxing world really believe that Claressa Shields isn't capable of getting in the ring with a Rolando Romero, hey, let's have at it. You know what I mean? Prove her wrong. Don't go making all these salacious allegations about her abilities, because thus far her abilities are elite. The word elite. She's an elite boxer. Female, male, any way you want to see it, Claressa Shields is an elite boxer, right? And the thing that she may have said about getting in the ring with the Torrance Bud Crawfords, the Shakur Stevenson, and the likes, right? That's not uncommon. That's called challenging yourself, right? To get to the point where you can get in the ring with anybody, male or female. And I applaud Claressa Shields for standing up and being about it. You know what I mean? Some of these male boxers need to take notice to a Claressa Shields, because a lot of you cats out there that's getting in the ring boxing, right? You can't box. And I mean, no disrespect intended, but the fact of the matter is, as an elite boxer, I was an elitist. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to the fact whether you knew a damn thing about me, I was an elitist. I'm telling you I was, and I was. You know what I'm saying? I knew how to mix. I knew how to think my opponent out of pocket, right? And that was by floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. You know what I mean? That was my theory, right? Claressa Shields had a totally different theory, but she boxes, man. You hear me? Boxes. She can box. The Orlando Romeros can't box, can't fight, man. Now, you can be mad or whatever the case may be. You have to deal with that. But at the end of the day, me personally, I'm giving Claressa Shields her dues. And until y'all prove her otherwise, quite sure you're not going to be able to do that if the fight between Rolando Romeo and Claressa Shields come to fruition. You're not going to be able to prove about Rolando Romeo because I'm telling you that she'll whoop the shit out, excuse my French, of Rolando Romeo. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Wait, what was his name? Austro Armentos. That dude laid hands out, lay her out in the ring. Okay, that has been duly noted. She did have an incident in the ring with a man, where he laid her out. Okay, that's one occurrence, and that's sparring. Hey, look, here's the thing. We can go back and forth all the day about that particular event, right? And the fact of the matter is, Claressa Shields doesn't take that well about that incident, right? And she kind of goes out of sorts when it comes to talking about that, right? And I would only say to Claressa, that's sparring. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get laid. Nothing personal, Claressa, but you're going to get laid out in sparring. You know what I mean? I mean, not to say that I ain't never been laid out. I never got laid out. Let the record reflect that I'm saying that in front of the world and God, that I never hit the canvas when I was boxing. You know what I'm saying? And again, contrary to the fact that whether you can authenticate that or not, I don't give a damn. I know, right? I know that I was an elitist. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. I don't think it's fair, Bruce, to use one isolated incident to suggest that Claressa Shields couldn't outbox Rolando Romeo. Rolando Romeo is garbage. And contrary to the fact that now trying to show up through in Claressa's face that Rolando Romeo was a 3 times world champion. That's not true. He was twice world champion, right? One at 140 and one at welterweight, right? And we're not gonna get off into the validity of how he came about those championships, right? Because it's not fair to those that get in the ring and box and fight, right? And win their championships by decision or by knockout, right? It's not fair to them, right? Because Rolando Romeo has just, in my opinion, has had a lot of good breaks, right, when it comes to sustaining himself in the boxing game, right? I mean, that's a fact. He has not performed of expectation. When you say, well, what about the fight that he had with Tank Davis? He got knocked out. He got knocked out. You know, he slipped up and won over. And you know, I really have to be making a good professional bid for why I think that it's unfair to Claressa Shields, because I'm using Ryan Garcia as an example in this respect, right? Yeah, okay, he knocked down Ryan Garcia, right, and won that particular bout, right? That catapulted him into stardom. That was the fight and that was a blessing, right? But all these jokes and him being a comedian and making these salacious allegations, not only in regards to Claressa Shields, like he states that Claressa Shields can knock him out. And listen, let me tell you this. Now, for y'all that are really not really that concerned about truth versus falsehood, right? Rolly Romero was on a platform a couple of days ago, and he said he never lies, right? He's a born again Christian, and he never lies, right? Now, just yesterday, he said that Claressa Shields is correct. She should knock him out. If she believes this, quote unquote, if she believes she can knock me out, she can knock me out. You know what I mean? I mean, she's the quote unquote. Right? So listen, don't get in my face, you know what I'm saying, trying to make me belittle, because I believe wholeheartedly that Claressa Shields would outbox Rolando Romeo. And let me go a stretch farther, right? There's a lot of those cats out there that Claressa Shields would box the ears off. I am stating this primarily as a factual assertion, right? Because I have seen Claressa Shields in action. That last fight she had with I don't recall the name. The last heavyweight fight she had with that big old woman, right? And that was sheer boxing skills that prevented that woman from beating Claressa Shields' butt up. Because Claressa Shields, again, people, hello, can box. Now, I don't really want to get off into a debate about this, especially as a result of listening to, because I did hear that podcast with Claressa Shields and Shannon Sharp, right? Unc, as y'all prefer calling dude, Unc. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, nothing personal. I just, it's just something about Shannon Sharp that rubs me the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nothing personal. It's just like, you know what I mean? I look at Shannon Sharp and I say, now he is a person that I would not want to emulate. You know what I'm saying? Based on the fact that the way that he speaks to people and at people and beneath people, right, it just rubs me the wrong way, Mr. Sharp, right? And let me say this to you, buddy, right? I mean, you constantly bring boxing onto your platform, right? And as a matter of fact, sir, you had Shakur Stevenson on the platform, and you were actually literally disrespecting dude. So here's the thing, buddy, right? I boxed. You know what I'm saying? Have me on the platform and critique me with that garbage. Critique me, sir. Right? That's what you do. Have me on your platform and critique me. Okay, Bruce. Okay, Bruce. Bruce, uh, my man, first of all, you know what I'm saying? Men agree to disagree, and that's a beautiful thing, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's the platform that I follow, right? Men agree to disagree, right? But and here's the deal. That's a hard and a bitter pill to swallow for most men, right? They don't want to agree to disagree and still continue to have conversations, right? But that type of mentality is really and still immature. You know what I'm saying? Men agree to disagree. They're gonna argue, they're gonna go back and forth, you know what I'm saying? And they go sit down and have dinner and talk about something positive. That's what men do. You know what I'm saying? We don't stick our jaws out, right? And be mad at one another. I don't. Well, you know, again, here's the deal. I consider myself as a mature adult. And I would hope that people that think like-mindedly, right, feel the same way. But that's still um, out for it's out for, I could say, it's still up for debate, right? But the verdict still is in on that. That's the logic. The verdict still is in on it when it comes to men disagreeing and still being able to have communication. And the thing about that is that I had to learn, right? Say there are situations in my life today where if I had certain people on board, right, that had enough. Uh, I want to say knowledge, right? Enough compassion, right, to say, man, that dude is special, right? You know what I mean? He makes some damn good points. Let me, you know what I'm saying, see if we can get to. Man, we don't do that today. You know, we're not. I mean, and it's a sad damn thing, especially for me. But here's the thing: I am not the type that would let that or that would prevent me from getting to my goal. Right? I have goals and dreams and aspirations, and in all focuses and centers around boxing. Right? I've said this. I'm going to say it again. Before I leave, before the Creator calls me, right? I have to think and do something historical in nature that will leave my name as a reference point to being a creative human being. You know what I mean? Is that difficult to understand? And I don't like having to say, man, could you know what I'm saying? I need, I just didn't come up in that environment with that type of mentality, right? You know what I mean? If I have something to offer, I'm going to speak to it, but that's as far as it goes. If a person that I deal with is not capable of generating the necessary information needed to make a definitive explanation about whether that's worth or whether that's unworthy, right? I don't know what to say. But that should not hold me back, or it not should not hold you back, right? Here we go, right? We're back on that subject. It always gets back to a full circle when it comes to our behavior as human beings and whether we are capable of uh, reconciling our differences and being able to be competitive in this world as he is. When I say he is, I'm merely speaking about whoever is successful in this current world that we live in. How about that? But back to Claressa. Claressa, I've made my point, and I think that I did a pretty good job on it, sister. You know what I'm saying? Keep on doing what you do. And listen, let me say this to you, my beautiful black sister. Kind of pump your brakes when it comes to putting yourself all over the universe in these conversations, right, that really don't serve no purpose. This conversation really don't serve no purpose because you are actually the goal. You know your capabilities, right? Why not, instead of putting it out there, why not having went to Rolling Stone in this box? Let's box, man. You know, let's see what you made of, right? Then we could have prevented this, sister. Now, I ain't telling you what to do. Excuse me. I am not telling you what to do, right? This is merely a suggestion. You know what I'm saying? To be able to put yourself in a position that you rise above all the nonsense. There's a lot of nonsense in this world, Claressa. You feel me? And I have grown to be disattached with that type of garbage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it comes with maturity. But look, man, I ain't here to chastise the growth. You the growth. You the growth, baby. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I think that it's fair for me to encourage you, sister. You know what I'm saying? To be the best you can be, to be the role model that the Creator has actually put you to be, right? And sometimes you have to like refrain from committing yourself to nonsense, right? Because we don't want to teach these ignorant youngsters any more nonsense that they already grabbing hold to. That's your job, Claressa. Claressa Shields, that's your job. You are the God-given mentor to the world, right? You got to stand up and be that mentor, sister. That being said, look, y'all, I got to get out of here. I'm feeling good about this podcast, you know what I'm saying? And contrary to the fact that the numbers aren't elevating the way that I want them to do, I'm going to keep on keeping on pushing this machine. Because obviously, somebody wants me to do it. Who? Think about it. If it's not you, think about it. That being said, hit that subscription button. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Hit that subscription button. Hit the thumbs up, the like button, right? Drop a comment in the comment section. Give me your opinion on who you think. No, do you think that Claressa Shields can actually outbox Rolando Romeo? That being said, I'm gone.